way into the grand finals. Let's find out. I'm here with Kobe and Azael. I'm Captain Flowers, and I am excited to bring you this best of 5. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I think we're going to have a really good series today, and I'm so excited to see if some of the adaptations in the meta we've been seeing over this past week are going to be showing themselves here today.
Yes, sir.
Nasus is getting banned out. We saw Mumu really prevalent in the series yesterday. We saw Senna become really important. So there's all these different changes that we've seen over the last week around the world. What are these teams going to take from them?
Definitely some big ones here. If Corki gets slammed, then you start to think stuff like Azir for the side of Quad and FlyQuest as well. Also interesting because we saw very different, team compositions yesterday. It was like really heavy dive on one side, and then it was double marksman, a lot of structure for 5-on-5s on the other side. TL obviously in slamming the Corki, you are going to go with the more traditional.
All right, well, it's Smolder, Lilia, and Nasus banned out by TL, with the Ivern, the Ziggs, and the Rumble banned out by FlyQuest.
Back on his Renekton.
All right, yep. Tread it, run from it. Renekton arrives to the draft all the same. That'll be Bwipo's pick for game 1.
This is interesting. Bwipo was actually talking on Pros about how, he always felt in the past in his career that he couldn't just stay on one champion. If he has one bad game on champion, he's like, all right, I need to mix it up. I need to be able to change that up. And that was something that really would get in his head. And he said he's really been working on that, seeing a therapist and trying to get over that kind of block where it allowed him to feel comfortable playing the champion that he came with that preparation with. He played it all 4 times in their series last week, really performed incredibly well on it against Cloud9, and now bringing it out here again today.
Sometimes it really does help to become a specialist there and keep some of the extra variables consistent so that you can just focus on the other variables of the game. But I like what FlyQuest also did in pairing with their Renekton priority. They wanted to break up the Corki Ezreal combination that is so popular across leagues right now. Don't want to give over the double poke scaling there. Meanwhile, Team Liquid will keep it very standard so far. Now, this is a funny hover. We don't usually talk about the hovers, but ever since leading into MSI and all the hype for the Galio changes where they added health ratios to Galio and Core JJ was spamming it in solo queue, I wanted to see it so bad. And and it was even flexed around in a couple leagues to mid lane, to top lane, but we still have not quite gotten the real slam.
It would be exciting, but when Core was on the LCS the other week, when we was chatting about it, he's like, well, I played it a lot and I thought it was really good, and then I kind of realized it's just a worse Alistar. It's just like worse than the other champions. So
you just have less armor, so lane phase is hard. It's painful. On the side of FlyQuest, there it is. I mentioned already the Azir. No surprise there. The go-to into Corki.
Okay. Corki, Azir in mid, K'Sante, Renekton in top lane. I don't think you could get a more textbook solo lane matchup than what we've seen in the first half of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Corki, Azir, K'Sante, Renekton. It's about as common as it does get. We'll see if there's going to be any shakeups in the second half of the draft, because a lot of those wrinkles that we've been seeing develop in the meta were all banned out, right? Ivern plus multiple AD carries. Smolder has become really popular on multiple lanes. We were watching it earlier today in the LEC at their finals weekend. That was being played top lane. Nasus is becoming pretty popular. We saw Jensen have a monster game on it yesterday, where it was actually a blind Nasus, I think, even in that one, and he crushed that game. So has been cool to see, but thus far it is pretty standard stuff. That's unlucky.
Yeah, drove from Canada to see Cloud9.
But Cloud9 are playing tomorrow.
Yeah, they're playing tomorrow.
Just come back.
Don't go back to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, just camp out here for an extra day.
Exactly.
Stick around for a while and listen. Let's see here. What other AD carries are they worried about for their Ezreal lane? The Misfortune, and they were hovering Kai'Sa earlier, but that is definitely, I think, a little bit less likely for Team Liquid. They definitely still could go for it. Let's see, Rel is also still up, so they could slam on the side of Team Liquid since they're the ones that are going to have to show both picks there for their entire bottom lane in the next round. Rel plus something, so they are worried about that Kai'Sa, and in the end, they do ban it.
The sign game is on point.
Yeah.
I gotta say, there's some good signs out there today.
The trash being talked by the signs. Carnivorous horses, there's some ostriches and stuff. I'm down with it.
Carnivorous horses are terrifying.
Those things are fast.
Just the idea of that.
All right, Brand, our last ban here the second half of the draft, alongside the Leona for TL. MF and Kai'Sa, like you already mentioned, Azael banned out by FlyQuest here in the second half. Let's see what they're going to pick here. We've already got both solo lanes. They could just lock a jungler, leave that support counter pick for very last if they wanted. hovering over this Amumu. Again, you already mentioned how this was a very important pick in the series yesterday. This has become pretty popular, and now we're going to see it here again.
And
today.
it was so interesting because across all major regions in summer, it had something like 10 plays, and basically we saw it 5 times yesterday. So it is really ramping up in priority in NA. People are putting a lot of value on its ability to actually just start out team fights. It's simple. Get in there,
press the button,
hit the ulti, the fight begins. It also can be flex to support. We haven't been seeing it in support, nearly as often, but there is that possibility if they see an angle for a different jungler that they could still move it down there.
Yeah, biggest difference here is going to be Prio in bottom lane. They take the Kalista here. The Yeon and Core JJ lane is what every lane in the LCS right now has been looking up to. These two have been such a power duo ever since the ascension of Yeon. So let's see if they also slam the very powerful Senna right now. The only little wrinkle is that Team Liquid have, up until this point, fully relied on Core JJ being a main engage, either a Rel, a Nautilus, an Alistar. It's always him, the captain of the team, being engaged and making calls for the angles that they're going for. So it will be interesting to see how TL as a team just operate with him on the Enchanter. Very squishy champ. You have to go for vision very differently when you're running this type of composition. You also have to be way more reliant on Umti and Impact, which is fine because they also were like S-tier engagers.
Yeah, but one of the big losses, I think, even though it's an amazing champion in a strong lane, his ability to roam is really hamstrung, on this Senna. The roams, I think, has been such a big part of TL's success, and Core JJ in particular is so impressive. So this champion, really, really strong. This player, I'm expecting to do well on it. He won a world championship playing Enchanters, but he just is so special in what he does for TL on the Engage champs. That'll be interesting to see how MT and Impact step up and how this looks in the first draft.
Yeah, and I feel like that's been a story with Core JJ for so long. It's not that he can't play the Enchanters. You already mentioned he won Worlds in Ardent Sensor meta. There was never a more Enchanter time to enchant than Ardent Sensor meta. That's when he won. But he's just such an incredible go button for his team. We'll see if they can find the angles to
building to this moment, all split long. This is my most anticipated matchup in a long time because we've had to wait since the first series of summer. We have been waiting to see this clash again. And let me remind you that when Team Liquid won in spring, they specifically called out the FlyQuest top lane and jungle as being annoying and being very happy that they were able to take them down. So let's see. There definitely is some built-up tension between these two teams, and we will get immediately into the all chat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a rivalry that is building up. FlyQuest has been up there at the top. There's a lot of players on these teams that really want to be winning that title. They don't want to just be second best. Bwipo talked about it, how he has been kind of second fiddle to Impact, and Impact is that bar for greatness right now in the league. Everyone looking up to this guy and how well he's playing, and Bwipo was excited to kind of test himself against Impact.
And man, Impact has always been such a rock there at the very top of top laners in the LCS, but I feel like this split has even been remarkable by his own standards. Like, the difference between Impact and everybody else in the top lane has been definitive.
I think it's really exemplified by the fact that they have led the way for lane swaps. They brought back so much from MSI and from international play in how to play their side lanes in the mid game. So it's not just like lane swap openings, but it's lane swaps back at like 5 minutes, then at 9 minutes, then after all outer towers are down as well. And Impact is just so knowledgeable, paying attention to every minion wave on the map, even while he's still concentrating on his own lane, and making a lot of macro calls for Team Liquid, while also still maintaining very good individual performance.
Well, you can see by the 3 cameras we got right here, no lane swaps starting off here in our first game. Instead, going to be some pretty standard stuff with APA having the push here in mid, while Yeon and Core are doing the same thing bot.
And that is, going to benefit Yeon and Core, of course, with this Kalista Senna lane, and Core trying to stack up his souls whenever he can, get these chunks, especially onto the Nautilus there. So building their wave on bottom side, and it is worth mentioning that junglers have opposing jungle starts here. So Maokai, Mr. Umpty will end up on the bottom side while Inspired is going towards top.
And I think one of the really interesting things about, FlyQuest, he's talked about the meta changing, but also the playstyles have changed. Inspired has been so complementary towards Quad, and in the regular season, he was 9th out of 8 junglers, by the way, as far as his mid-jungle proximity. In playoffs, he's 2nd. And he has really been... Bwipo's in trouble.
Yeah, Bwipo very, very close to death. Impact going forward for the third hit of the Antofo strikes. The Croc tries to escape, but there ain't no running from the best top in North America. Impact with the solo bolo for the first blood.
Bwipo said, Impact is the bar for greatness, and that bar is still above his head.
I think that bar just hit him in the head.
Yeah, it definitely did. Let's take another look at the bar.
Yeah, we can watch it one more time. The bar hits back. This one gets scary as Bwipo wanted to go past and look for a little bit of a proxy play. But this gets awkward when you try to cross back through. He pulled
right
tower aggro as he actually hit him, and Impact just slowed him down in that tower, got the Pathmaker, stunned him against the wall. And this is just a bit of an overplay there from Bwipo, because when you walk through that tower, when you cross, you cannot hit them back or you pull tower aggro. In this case, he did, and it all goes bad.
I don't know how many times, gentlemen, we are going to see professional top laners disrespect K'Sante underneath the tier 1 turret. I feel like the story ends the same way every single time.
And, walking past Impact right there and disrespecting him is a mistake you don't get to make again. We'll see what they're able to do with this lead because they're already calling Umpty. You see the Maokai heading up. Plenty of vision here for Bwipo, though. He has multiple angles covered, so probably should be Umpty. Oh, he's actually passed over the Tri-Brush ward there as he goes to hover behind Impact, but I don't think Umpty will waste much time. He can just go to another full clear top to bottom.
Yep. Yeah, doing pretty well in that situation. And I think Bwipo was just in a spot where he thought, Impact's not going to hit me. He needs to farm the wave, right? And Impact just recognized that spot and now is keeping him away from those minions and pushing him all the way back. He might just die here, likely going to have to go back to base. Now has no TP, so if Impact can crash the wave, Bwipo is going to lose quite a bit here. Yeah,
I mean, look at that. It was a fully completed Bramble on first back because of that first blood that Impact got, and Bwipo, no summoner spells, walking his way back.
And it's not a cannon wave, so there's not going to be any minions to actually really heavily tank this up. Let's see how many he loses. It's already 1 minion he's lost. I think he's going to lose at least like 6 or 7, and Impact doesn't have a jungler up here, so we probably can't actually stop him from getting all the way back to the tower, but you get the plate, you're going to deny probably at least about a full wave. Inspired maybe gets to stop the base here.
6. That was number 7 right there, and he got in range, at least for EXP
yeah,
of it.
Lost 8 because he missed that last one as well. So quite a big hit there, and now the CS is evened out.
And again, the experience is the real kicker here, because Impact is almost level 6.
Yeah.
And Bwipo, as he does get back to the lane, but he's still going to be so far behind. So they're lane swapping. This is a very common timer with the with the 6 minute for Grubs. Team Liquid still going to be ahead of the curve. They swap first, but you see FlyQuest answering straight out of base. Here comes the Nautilus as well. Masu is kind of hovering down to the bottom side and is going to get popped by that sapling. So they do see the Ezreal going back down bottom.
Yawn still just hanging out in the brush here with Core JJ. Bwipo hits level 6. Dominus available for the Renekton.
Oh,
Umpty looking to come up and maybe assist him here. Bwipo's got half HP.
Inspired yoinked it too.
Remember. FlyQuest popping that ulti there for the Renekton, maintaining control over the top side river. They got the 1 grub. The other 2 are going to reset. Bwipo running out of time here on the ulti for the Renekton as he jumps in. Call of the Meek heal off a 2. Now Umpty looking for the angle. Bwipo has lost the ult. Flash engage comes out with a twisted advance. And now with a little bit more damage from the bottom lane duo, Team Liquid's about to pick up another easy one. Bwipo drops and Yawn's getting the money.
So while Inspired did yoink the Void Grub, he smited the first one, but then here comes Umpty, and he gets payback. Since your smite was used on the first one, he's just going to go pick up that one, and it is just really good response from TL, seeing the big wave and saying, you have to get this thing crashed, you have to get this thing in, and then they just fight FlyQuest off of it and prey on the Crocodile once again.
And it looked to me like Inspired moved down, APA was kind of skirmishing with Quad around that jungle, around that river, and it seemed that APA might have spotted Inspired, which then prompts them to go in on that top side with the Renekton ult expiring. Knows, all right, well, if Amumu's down by mid, we have a free 3v2 up here, so they go in, they get that kill. TL played around it really, really well. I think FlyQuest, initially was doing a pretty good job to actually get in and steal that grub, but maybe overplayed their hand, and we can try to watch on the mini-map. Oh, this is pretty far back, so I'm not sure we'll get to see what I was actually talking about.
See, the sapling does
gets spotted
tag
right
him.
there, and then this is after the initial steal. It's much later than I was thinking.
Yeah, so this is him just walking by, Inspired gets it, and then they chase Umpty off, but then they don't respect Umpty wrapping back around.
Oh
and
yeah, he does see him right on the ward.
Yeah, he's clearing the control ward, no problem there, but they don't respect it because that big wave is there, and then TL, they prey on them, wrapping around. Umpty just walks up. He was like, okay, fine. Giving me the pathway, I'll take it.
Yep.
And that's further dividends being paid from Impact's solo kill earlier as well. Because there is no flash on Bwipo, it's so easy for Umpty to just commit the flash with the point-and-click W, lock up Bwipo, get another kill, make it easy. 1,500 gold lead early on for TL. It's about to be even more as Jan is mining plate gold while Umpty takes the drag.
I gotta highlight something that's a little bit sad right now. A 90-stack call, 8.5 minutes into the game, is never the spot you want to be in. Bwipo has to pop the Dominus, expecting some more potential pressure to come in. He's going to use this likely to just try to clear out the wave, but he is in a really tough spot.
Okay. Inspired going for the dive on Impact up here on the top side while Jan has to get away in the 2v1 down in bottom lane. Meanwhile, Impact staying alive for a moment longer, trying to go all out, but it ain't going to happen. Masu taking the kill there while the bottom lane fight turns into nothing. They tried to reinforce Impact with the Senna ultimate. It wasn't enough to keep him alive. Busio barely gets away.
That is very good news for FlyQuest. They needed to pull that off.
This is not good news. Bwipo has no ulti any longer, and it's more money over to TL. 3 kills now as Bwipo dies again, and the tier 1 turret is going to pay the consequences.
Yeah, TL just seemed to be getting more on these trades each and every time. Umpty now has that lock completed. This is kind of becoming the new meta over the Zeeks a lot of the time. People just rushing straight towards that. As they're going to look mid.
Oh, APA gets shuffled back. Inspired looking to make his way into the minion wave with the first bandage toss. APA tries to get away. Quad needs one more hit with a soldier, and FlyQuest picks up their second kill.
I went back to look at it too because I was a little confused why Bwipo went back under tower since he had gone up to the Gromp basically and got hit by a sapling. But he didn't walk all the way in, so just not respecting the fact that Umpty could also still be there. So in the end, they do mirror those ones. Interesting choice there, but they do get one more back here towards mid lane, and that is going to be your completed Liandry's for the Amumu. So now you do have that threat here on his side, has his flash ready. As soon as that ult comes back up, they can make a big play. The Amumu really was a big star yesterday, so high priority. Actually, both teams really preferring it over the Maokai, even though they eventually did respond with it.
And I feel like the itemization for the front line of FlyQuest is pretty simple this game. It's a lot of armor, right? You're up against a double marksman duo, a triple marksman if we include the mid lane, and then the only real magic damage is coming from Maokai, which isn't that much of a threat. So FlyQuest's front line with the Amumu, with the Renekton, should be able to get pretty tanky against these guys as long as they don't continue to fall behind.
The question is just how much armor are you really going to build, right? Realistically, generally Renekton is just going to go, very kind of bruiser items, HP items. We do see Amumu sometimes go Liandry's into like a frozen heart, but then it's hard to get to a third item as he's going to go all up, pull him under the tower.
Bwipo continues to find himself in tough spots as Impact tries to dash away while Inspired reinforces his top laner. Finally, Impact may have gone too far. Inspired barely survives while down to the bottom lane. Jan has to try to get away down to 100 HP as Masu continues firing. Core JJ firing off a couple of heals as they try to kite the fight backwards as Busio goes forward and Masu gets locked up. Busio grabs the kill on Jan. Masu arcane shifts in. FlyQuest comes to life, 5-3.
Huge Inspired diff on the top side. The Amumu we were looking at with just completed Liandry's and ultimate goes for the counter on Impact as Impact flashed over to follow Bwipo. They get that kill, and then the bottom lane comes up with heroics. Fly Masu, the rookie of the year, is now 2-0. Trinity Force completed on Ezreal.
Yeah, he's playing really well. Him and Busio finding the angle here. To look for that all in, we can look back one more time as this was Impact fighting Bwipo.
Now, this play is actually even better because Bwipo had died earlier to Impact, so Impact's going to flash follow for sure, but Bwipo had Inspired coming up the river a full 10 seconds earlier. So it was a really good timing there. Just as Impact decided to K'Sante ult Bwipo under tower, it was the perfect situation to pull him over towards Inspired.
Nice job. No flash K'Sante.
Maokai coming. Fighting.
All right, nothing crazy.
Nope.
No flash K'Sante.
You can't be too cocky after the start of the game.
All business in game one. Yeah, you kind of have to nurse your own ego a little bit after the 0-3 start. It's a slow climb back up.
And it was a good timing for Inspire, because if he wasn't there, Impact probably solo kills him.
I would give my jungler something more like a jungle diff. Good job. Cheer
him up. Hype him up. Jungle diff. Wow, look how good you are when you gank top lane.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just
spam
see how I
with
slid
the
that in there, you know?
Let them know that you're on the same
smart.
team.
You're well practiced, I could tell.
Yeah. Wow, you're so good at ganking top.
Maybe you should do
could
it
pull that again. Yeah. I'll be here when you're ready.
You've had some practice.
Oh, yeah.
Then when they gank bottom lane, you're like, good try.
Good try.
NT.
Bot lane was inting you on that one. I got your back, though. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
FlyQuest, with 30 seconds left before turret plates fall, are ahead 1,000 gold. Particularly impressive considering they were down 1,500.
Oh, Busio hooks in. Upti's here.
Busio wants it down the bottom lane. Yon's taken low, but the reinforcements arrive for Team Liquid. Busio is first to die. Quad gets a shuffle, but it's only on the enemy jungler. Inspired arrives, and Upti flashes back over the wall to safety. FlyQuest brought more men, but they also lost one. Finally getting a trade back in the back end as Masu goes on a killing spree, and Yon dies for the second time.
That's a big kill for FlyQuest because they were giving up full mid prio to APA with Quad using the teleport to the bottom side. They're going to pay this price no matter what, so it was necessary to get that extra kill onto Yon at the end. But APA and TL still opening up mid lane is a huge objective.
And this is something that they are really, really good at doing, at utilizing APA to play the map. And obviously this is just Quad TPing away, but as the game gets later, almost always TL will put APA in a side lane, and he's constantly taking those objectives. It's very difficult to trade up against this team.
I gotta say, this series is already delivering here. This is what I like to see. Counter punches from each side, FlyQuest versus TL at the top, and this one is going to be a trade. Dragon will just get picked up, so it's 1-for-1 now. FlyQuest grab that one, even though Umpty, CoreJJ, and Yon are down here. All you can really do is push the wave.
Busio goes in for the hook, finds his mark onto Umpty, but a nice use of the Bramble Smash to try to disengage it. Meanwhile, Core's gonna have to be pulled to safety from Yon, but Yon is already down to begin. CoreJJ now stuck in the middle of 4 enemy players on FlyQuest. Impact makes his entry into the fight, but it might be a little bit too little, a little bit too late. Impact grabbing the kill on Bwipo to at least get something back for TL, but FlyQuest is out fighting Liquid.
They couldn't even finish pushing the wave because Umpty got hit there for the engage, and the teleport came in early, but Maokai.
The Maokai ulti locks up Busio, who dredge lines forward, only finds his way onto a wall. Team Liquid's attempt at a counter engage won't get anything in the back end.
Yeah, not going to be able to find anything more, and Masu is getting dangerously fed here. Excited to see this guy back on a hard carry. Played a lot of Ashe in their previous series. Obviously a strong champion, but he excels so much on these team fighters. Such a talented player. And here it is one more time as both teams, just immediately the TPs were coming forward, but Inspired preempts the play, R flash in, Bwipo's behind him with the teleport. That really made all the difference.
Yeah, getting there really early. And then you see Impact now joining, but the damage has already been done. They've got the numbers advantage, and so K'Sante ult over the wall here to answer one. Quad, this tower is basically dead.
Yep. 2 shots from APA with the extra damage over time on the Grubs will do just that. Umpty now getting caught yet again. Dawning Shadow from CoreJJ, but now he's in danger as APA fires back. FlyQuest has to retreat. They may have overextended, and CoreJJ is grabbing the first kill. FlyQuest thought they had a pinch there. They thought they might have caught Umpty, but Team Liquid thought otherwise.
And the angle from APA was so good as they tried to push through that corridor to get in onto Umpty. APA is just free firing on them. TL had the faster backup, and look at top lane. This is something that is so signature Team Liquid. When you make a play, you look elsewhere, they're hitting towers, they're taking objectives, and they are punishing you for any sort of misstep. So FlyQuest is really going to have to be so clean in these fights and in their map movement.
I think one thing that FlyQuest can look at now is that after that play, the Corki with no flash could be a big target. APA does a lot of work for this team, so maybe some burst damage as far as one of these plays as we have another friendly top lane trade.
It's not just going to be top lane for long. Team Liquid is bringing the whole squad. Third hit knockback on Bwipo there as he has to flash away to try to survive. Lives with 100 HP. Team Liquid not quite enough firepower to bring him down.
Yeah, they should be able to finish up this tower as well. So we'll end up with all 3 outers here pretty early in the game, as is typical TL fashion. But FlyQuest have been getting a lot of kills for themselves.
And you can see they had actually pushed out bot, so just now are we seeing him arrive at that bot lane tower to hit there. Mid lane, the Kalista arrived to actually defend mid in time, so we'll see how much of a trade FlyQuest can get. They are going to get that bot lane tier 1. Mid lane will be defended, but TL will trade the top lane tier 1 a kill, and they're going to be able to try to get this Herald.
And I really have to remember back to what we heard from Inspired after the interview with him when their victory against Cloud9 had just happened, talking about how the early games were so slow in that one because they knew that they could do that. They could, just weather the storm against C9, but Team Liquid wasn't going to allow that same sort of a thing to happen. Gentlemen, this has been a scrappy game. We've got 14 kills in 18 minutes, and honestly, I'm hoping we get 5 games of it.
I concur, Flowers. Definitely want some more already. It's also interesting because if you just see, like, the bounties are actually starting to go down right now. Even though there was one right there, Masu's has shrunk, and it even disappears now because if you look at the actual gold for each of them, it is Yeon ahead, even with all those extra kills that had gone to Masu. This tower gold that gets spread among your team, doing a lot of work for Team Liquid. Him and Corki here. Very, very powerful as they're roaming around. And now the extra territory that you get to work with, look at the mini-map as all TL go topside here, 4-person.
Yeah, we're going in for Bwipo again, a target on his back. But they will not find the mark. Umpty has to retreat, soaking too much damage there from the turret as FlyQuest reinforcements arrive.
Yeah, you were talking about that FlyQuest early game, those early games versus Cloud9. This series has been very scrappy, but that last one was pretty different. This is kind of the comparison in the regular season versus what they were doing against Cloud9. Even from behind, they were able to kind of out-team fight Cloud9. They were depending a lot on scaling. They were going a really different angle, and they're just saying, we're going to play Ivern, we're going to play Smolder, we're going to beat you 5v5 later on in the game. This time, I do think they still have some really strong scaling, but it's not as stark as I think it was in the Cloud9 series.
And I would definitely credit FlyQuest here for their better early game really coming off the backs of Inspired and Busio. These hooks from Busio to grab them some of these plays on their counter plays on the cross map, and Inspired, similar thing with the Amumu Engage, has really afforded them a lot more gold earlier on in the game. So we'll see if it ends up becoming a problem for TL. They should be able to set up for Dragon first, and with the vision advantage, FlyQuest might think about it twice, but Inspired has flash. He could ult flash on Amumu.
Impact is already on the flank. Inspired goes in. Nice flash engage coming out with the Curse of the Sad Mummy, but there's no follow-up here just yet. Impact going all out, taking Inspired back over the wall as Busio is down to 50 HP, and APA is going to be the focus now. Bwipo takes him down. That's the first kill coming in for FlyQuest, but the rest of their lines are in danger. Quad is under pressure from Impact, who is an absolute raid boss yet again. He cannot be stopped. Masu tries to run away as Impact continues the chase. The third and Tofo strike ain't going to hit. Masu jumps over the wall, but Umpty's ready to follow. It is a 4-for-1 for TL.
I'd say that's all on the engage there. Inspired goes R flash just to get the Corki with nobody in range. No damage follow-up. Nobody can actually play off the Amumu ult. And then Bwipo does come in at the end, but the Senna shield's already over the top, and you already have such a big lead as far as the front lines go for TL.
And look how much damage Bwipo took actually as he was walking through there. He wanted to target APA. He walked past Core and Yeon. He was a pin cushion by the time he actually got the first hit in on the Corki.
The timings in these team fights, especially from these top 3 teams in the LCS, if one team is like a half a second or a second off on their coordination on their engage, then you just get wiped like that.
Very, very good stuff from Team Liquid. Now 3,000 gold ahead. They're up a Drake as well. Things are once again in their favor. What do we got to see from FlyQuest to sort of stop that momentum? Is it just you got to make sure you don't get hands diffed in the fight? You got to make sure you're on the same page, or there's something more to it?
I mean, I think it's like what Kobe was talking about. You have to be coordinated on that engage. We had the R flash come in, but you need everything to happen at the same time. You need the Ezreal ult over the top. The Renekton needs to be arriving at the same time. It has to be picture perfect.
And I will say that we were mentioning armor before, but this is all magic resist. That Amumu is a Liandry's DPS item and then double magic resist here versus Corki Kalista. So if you are not picture perfect on your engage and your timing, and you're not relying on actually locking them down with the CC, then you will take damage very quickly. You saw before, like that Amumu just kind of disappeared.
I mean, it's high risk, high reward, right? You know, it's magic resist, but it's also magic pen for him and the Azir. So if you're perfect on that engage, you can one-shot them, but if you fail the engage, you get one shot. And that's kind of the build that he's opting into here. Which is going to be very exciting. FlyQuest still have a ton of gold on their carries, kind of where they want it. Obviously, we do see TL in the advantage, but the Ezreal is strong. The Azir is strong. They both have 2 completed items. You look over on the other side, it's the same thing for APA and Yan. FlyQuest are definitely in with a chance, but they've got to make sure that they're playing this out well and somehow have to answer Impact, who's really been a problem.
Well, the biggest individual gold lead in the game right now is actually in the support role for CoreJJ on this Senna. 2 support items fully completed with the Moonstone, with the Echoes of Helia. We've seen how big of a problem this champion can be if he's allowed to just be an undeterred healing battery in these fights. And Team Liquid's War Machine is not slowing down. 5th turret claimed now as the tier 2 in mid crumbles.
And you know what the healing battery loves is a great front line to heal. There's a huge tank difference in this game because of those frontline items that we mentioned.
FlyQuest has no clue. They have no clue they're on Baron right now.
I honestly don't think there's a lot that they can actually do about it too, because it's so hard to face check this team.
Well, Inspired doesn't have flash, but he does have a way over with the bandage toss.
Inspired's a man on a mission. He might try to go in and steal it away. Impact's going to try to keep him out of the pit. The Baron is secured, but now is Impact the sacrificial lamb. He wants to try to get away, but he cannot find that exit route. Whippo trying to cut off the rest of TL from being able to escape, but he can't get there in time. Instead, Humpty's ready to try to turn it, but it's still a 4v5. A nice shuffle from Quad, and Masu's got the kill on Yan. Team Liquid may have got the Baron, but everybody's dying as the price.
Yeah, they only get 2 Baron buffs out there as Quad done a great shuffle. TL, the initial play looked like it was going to go so well. Impact kept the enemy jungler out. You think, hey, if they can escape with 4, this is fantastic. But FlyQuest had a good TP from Renekton, had great follow-up from the team, and are able to punish heavily.
All about Whippo and that teleport that you mentioned. The deep ward is the star here. Right here, that ward allows him to get in. The other big star is Steric's Gauge, because they chunk Whippo as they're trying to run away, but then the Steric's Gauge shield pop, and they're like, we were actually not close to finishing off this Renekton anyway. And Yan, does get locked up. They try and go peel for him, but they end up losing so much more because Quad can go in, shuffles him back into the Amumu ultimate for the extra collection here.
Run. We are split, guys. Copy. That's okay.
All right, so let's take stock of where everything's at. The Baron power play is currently negative because of the deaths that they suffered immediately after securing the buff. They still do have it on 2 players, though. We'll see what Team Liquid can accomplish over the course of the next 90 seconds with this buff. The only turret standing outside of the FlyQuest base is the tier 2 in top.
Yep, it's going to be Dragon number 3 here for them, since you're seeing the commitment here. Oh, actually, mid lane could fish around for something, since Quad does have teleport on the Azir. FlyQuest would love to just have him finish off that top tower. Maybe they make the call. Just get the guaranteed gold. It's only Dragon number 3. It's not Dragon Soul yet, and it is a Cloud Drake.
And we talked about how Team Liquid does the APA. Honestly, FlyQuest has been doing this a lot with Quad, especially in the more recent weeks where they've been putting him in the side lane, trying to get as much gold in his pockets as possible. We had heard from FlyQuest members that Quad is so good, but he's not greedy enough. He needed to ask for more. He needed to take more of the resources. And they're trying to do that now.
That thing melts.
Yeah, that turret is already done for. Team Liquid, despite the fact that power play is still negative, have found great value out of the Baron. Breaching the gates here in the bottom lane. The tier 3 turret destroyed. But now the Sun Disk is summoned up in its place. FlyQuest just trying to last these next 20 seconds until the Baron buff expires. But it's a double Baron Enchanted Cannon wave as Impact is ready to push mid lane up at the same time. The remainder of Team Liquid going to keep the pressure on the inhibitor down here in bottom side. Already got it down to half HP, but FlyQuest is looking for an opportunity to punish. Masu very low now. That opportunity for a punish ain't gonna look so great now as Impact has to try to get away. Quad ready to engage here with Whippo as they chase after the Cassante. They'll force the flash, but Impact survives and FlyQuest lose bottom inhibitor.
Notice how the carries of TL operate, because Yan knew that he's the target. He had no flash, he had no cleanse. So it was APA and CoreJJ stepping up. They were the ones creating space with their range up onto the tower, up onto the inhibitor, while Yan was just staying out of range, barely there. And so FlyQuest, even though you think the comms are like, all right, we got to go for the no flash, no cleanse Kalista, they were unable to have that as a target, and TL get what they came for.
Yeah, they play it well. Quad off the back of that did get the mid lane tier 1, and you notice Bwipo backed up, so it was full solo gold for Quad again. Now he has 3 items, and he has another 800 gold in pocket, so he is keeping pace with where these TL carries are, and he's only 300 gold down. Yeah, Core has a massive amount of gold over Busio, and that's going to be problematic because it just makes it so much more difficult to punch through those other carries as he's going to have so much healing and shielding. But Quad is strong. Masu is strong. They are going to have an opportunity here. You can see the Mortal Reminder is now done for Masu as well to cut some of that Senna healing, cut some of the Maokai healing. So they have their opportunities. They're just going to have to make sure that their engages are picture perfect. And Busio, anytime he goes in, it's going to be a one-way trip. You know, when you're on one item this late in the game, you are paper, Warmogs or not.
Hey, there's a Ruby Crystal in there. That's more than one. All right.
He's got something in the pocket of his Warmogs.
What percentage of an item is a Ruby Crystal for you?
Like, I don't know, 10.
Okay.
That's generous.
That's nice. I like that.
Not that great, but it's something. It fills up an inventory slot.
That's true.
It's not an empty square.
It's trying its best.
We will see.
It's a rock.
If he survives with 150 HP, then there you go.
Ruby Diff.
All right, we'll see if the Ruby Crystal ends up being the make or break here for FlyQuest, because right now they have to dig in, they have to continue to defend. Team Liquid owns Summoner's Rift, and Baron is going to respawn in about 60 seconds. Dragon a minute after that, and it will be Soul if Team Liquid claims it. That'll be very, very difficult for FlyQuest to deal with. Remember, this isn't just movement speed on ulti, as everybody wants to chalk it up to be. It's permanent, constant move speed, and you're against 3 marksmen who want to kite you.
So my main question then, since Baron is coming up very shortly, is going to be how do FlyQuest actually get their vision to have a good team fight? Because when we talk about frontline diff, the biggest thing you think of is team fights. Makes it way easier, but it also makes it way easier to get the vision set up for those team fights, because Impact and Umti are so tanky here on the side of TL, and FlyQuest, they've got no pre-existing vision, so they're going to have to go a little bit risky with it.
They could potentially wrap on Impact here, but we don't know exactly where they are. They're playing in fog, so Umti is here to cover now. If Umti walks in too far, he could be in trouble.
Gonna drop the control ward in the brush, as now Impact gets jumped on all of FlyQuest, committing for the kill on Impact. APA teleported in, but now FlyQuest moving as a 5-man unit. Gonna make a play for the Baron. It'll be up to Team Liquid to try to answer.
And that is so freaking smart from FlyQuest. There were no other angles. Now it's gonna have to be TL 4 versus 5 defense.
Baron's already below half HP. Umti is not in the pit just yet. FlyQuest are trying to burn it down. Inspired should be able to smite this, no problem. Baron for FlyQuest. Gold lead for FlyQuest.
Vision play is play of the game for me, Flowers, right there. That was amazing from FlyQuest. We mentioned how difficult it is for them. They have no pre-existing vision. They know that Team Liquid are going to have access to the super scuttle crab bloom basically around Baron. So they all go through lane, huddling on the top side of the map, the one area TL don't have covered, and they go immediately kill the K'Sante, the tank that everyone always complains about having such a hard time. That was such a necessary comeback play for FlyQuest. I am looking forward to seeing what they do now with the buff.
And now the question is, does TL challenge at this Dragon? Because Soul is on the table for them. It's spawning in 5 seconds, but it's difficult when your opponents have that Baron buff. APA is top lane, it has no GP, so I think the answer is very clearly no. They're just going to try to continue to play for more gold for their solo laners and wait for that better opportunity.
All right, no Soul just yet. FlyQuest controlling it, APA trying to finish off this last remaining tier 2 turret. Still standing on the FlyQuest side. With Impact coming up to reinforce him, it should be pretty easy to get that done. Busio and Bwipo are both here, but they're not here in time to stop that from happening. Not that big of a deal at this point in the game. 31 minutes in, still only 1,000 gold separating the teams. It has been a battle so far.
It is really close, and it's going to come down to late game execution here. You can see the Baron buff only positive 200 because those tier 2 towers are worth so much gold. TL went topside. You can see now that they're also doing this work, reclaiming all of the vision in this area. This is all dark now for FlyQuest, and they're going to look for a pick.
That's the twisted advance on Bwipo. FlyQuest made their last play with a 5v1 on the enemy top laner, and now Team Liquid's doing the same thing. 5v4 for TL, but that True Shot barrage just ripped into the health bars, forced them back a little bit as the wave is cleared.
They stole their whole flow, bar for bar, word for word.
When in doubt, go.
It worked.
When in doubt, go kill enemy top lane.
He's like, hey, that whole killing top laner thing looked pretty good.
Give it a spin, boys. Team Liquid feeling pretty good about that one. It also slams the brakes for anything FlyQuest would have wanted to do with that Baron. You can see up in the top left, 35 seconds left on that Baron timer. Half of that is going to be wasted on Bwipo's respawn.
I will say, because FlyQuest did it first, they got a bigger reward. You know, they got Baron out of it.
You're the original.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bunch of copycats over there on team.
Oh, Core JJ nearly killed there. Masu does so much damage so quickly. Luckily, Yawn is nearby to save him, but that was still both summoner spells out of the Team Liquid support.
And the Kalista ultimate here. Thankfully for Team Liquid, you know, there's no huge objective immediately, so they have some time to regain that cooldown. At least the Kalista ultimate will be no problem for them, and it should just be pretty safe clearing of minion waves, as the plants will afford the extra vision this time so they don't get trapped or caught.
Both mid laners have their big ticket items now, i.e. done for the Corki, Deathcap done for the Azir. Knight's Vow is done for Inspired. Who is he actually the Knight to, though? Who did he link that to? It looks like it's probably Azir because I don't see it on the Ezreal. So yeah, it's got to be Azir.
Inspired is the knight, and Quad is his lady. He must protect Quad.
King Quad.
Yes, Quad with all of this AP, with the Void Staff, with the hat. You were already talking about the big ticket items, dude. If this guy finds that huge shuffle, or not even a shuffle, just a couple of auto attacks with the
The
soldiers.
huge auto attacks from 700 units away.
The massive Azir spears. Just going to turn these guys into Swiss cheese, man.
I mean, it is an interesting story with Quad and Masu being so reliable carries for this team now that you were talking about earlier. It is definitely deserved.
New era.
They have really proven themselves to this FlyQuest team. So yeah, take your vow. Kneel and protect them.
In spring, it was really all about FlyQuest topside. That's what everyone talked about. It's about the Inspired Bwipo duo. Now, it's much more about enabling Masu, enabling Quad, getting these guys in the right position to succeed because they can dominate in a 5v5. Might have one now.
Busio with the engage, the dredge line onto Umpty. There won't be a whole lot of follow-up here just yet. Bwipo's coming around from the side, already has the Dominus, so the Fury is building, but the fight has fizzled.
And now Renekton going to be without ultimate. They didn't actually see him pop it, I don't think, so may not have that info, so might not really be relevant, but now has been spotted by that blue trinket.
I feel like you should be able to suss out that he used it
So much Fury.
just by seeing him at 100 Fury. It's like, you know that he wasn't standing there hitting.
That's why the blue trinket, I think, matters there, because it kind of tips you off.
All right, Team Liquid maintaining control over the mid lane here yet again. We are 60 seconds away from both another Baron as well as another potential Dragon Soul on the map. This time, they're not staggered. These are going to be spawning almost simultaneously.
And you can see with that replay the observer showed us, they didn't actually see him on the way out until that blue trinket right there, so that obviously gave them the info.
Luckily for Bwipo, with this build, your ultimate cooldown is 57 seconds.
Not bad.
So we'll have that back up now.
Okay,
Perfect.
nothing to
No
worry
problem.
about. Nothing to worry about.
Well, Dragon is something for these teams to worry about, though. Dragon and Baron, the spawn timers are very synced up this time around. Only a couple seconds separating the two. FlyQuest has done a good job of actually moving in and taking over a lot of vision on this bot side. TL has been pretty much choked out. Most of their vision is placed around the Baron on that top side.
Oh, Umpty's very far forward, and FlyQuest is going to go in after him. The Dawning Shadow ain't going to keep him alive as Inspired has to try to get away, and the Sun Disc is summoned up, so TL cannot push further forward. Busio is overextended, and APA is grabbing the kill. 1-for-1 thus far. Quad and Masu still looking for a little bit more, but they got to be careful. There's so much damage on both sides. One misstep and you're dead. Masu.
Watch Inspired, watch
losing
Inspired.
half HP like they're Inspired. Looking for the angle, but not finding anything just yet.
That was Pixels from bringing in a Mumu ultimate right there.
Yep.
That was so close. The plane just barely goes up towards the Baron, and now they're actually going to trade it. They're going to try and put pressure on Baron. It technically is a Kalista.
It's so slow, though. By the time they get there, they're going to spot it with the Ezreal. Oh, this could be problems here for TL. We'll see if FlyQuest can actually respond.
Bwipo just flashed to try to catch APA, but it didn't work. Now Team Liquid still going after the Baron, has it secured. They're ready to try to escape using the power of that mist from the Senna to make it so FlyQuest can't catch up to anybody. Team Liquid trades away the Dragon for the Baron.
Yep, now it's soul point for both teams here. Both teams sitting on 3 dragons. TL obviously with the run of the map right now for 3 minutes, having that Baron buff. We have to see how much damage they can get done. Because if it goes to that next dragon fight, it's really anybody's game. And APA did have to use the QSS there, so has that available now. You can see Seekers picked up by Quad. It's really tit for tat. Both these carries are buying the same kind of items at the same time. And it's going to be so explosive. We're seeing how fast these fights go. You know, even with that first kill for Fly, Inspired instantly had to flash out because he has paper at this point.
And even the objective trading with that small amount of information was really smart to see from TL. They only sent Impact and Yawn, but it's a Blade of the Ruined King plus your Rage Blade Callista. So even with just the 2 members and the other ones trying to give away false information, they're able to burn it down so quickly, the extra couple seconds there, allowing them to finish it out.
And you can see it's also a Jack show now for Yawn. So he's actually building a little bit tanky, likely going to be a BT last item. This is actually pretty popular on the Callista because you have to get so close to your opponents and you're really heavily outranged by both the Azir and the Ezreal. It can be tough, so you can't be too squishy.
Remember, Bwipo, no flash, but an engage comes out from Inspired. He's too far forward yet again. There is no follow-up on the Amumu. No matter how many targets he hits, it will not matter. Team Liquid now with a 5v4, still with Baron for the next minute and a half. FlyQuest are going to have to really dig in to defend this one.
It's going to get so tough for FlyQuest. They need to depend on Quad. His wave clear is so critical at this point. This is here monstrously strong, but look at mid lane. Bot lane is already open. Mid lane is about to fall down as well.
Impact catches Bwipo, brings him back over the wall, and there is no escape. Sundisk summoned up on the ruins of the freshly destroyed Tier 3 turret here in the mid lane. As FlyQuest still has all 3 inhibitors intact for now, but Team Liquid is looking to change that and change it fast. Mid lane inhib should be the first to drop. Bottom lane inhib will fall to APA right after. Top lane inhib. Next in line is Impact and Core JJ. Put the finishing touches on that one. Inspired will respawn in about 2 seconds, but it's still half a minute until Bwipo is back on the Rift. Just about the same timer as the Baron buff here for Team Liquid. First Nexus turret nearly dead already. Inspired looking to follow up with Boostio. They want to find the engage, but it ain't going to work out. Inspired is already dead and APA's on a rampage. Impact leading the charge. The Nexus turrets about to fall. Try as they might, FlyQuest cannot withstand Team Liquid, and it's a TL dub to start the series.
What a first game we have of this series. We've waited since the first series of summer for this rematch, and already delivering. I did go back to look at Inspired's vision when he went for that Amumu bandage in the front of the tower, because it looked a little odd, but going back to look at it from FlyQuest vision, they did not have vision of the rest of TL moving up, and so he was trying to get a bandage onto the minion to get range for his ult onto APA and burst down APA was the thought process, but because TL had already rotated halfway up, they were there in time to immediately kill the Amumu, and that was the game breaker right there. That got them inside the base, and with the Baron buff, they're able to finish it.
A game that close is a game of seconds, a game of inches. The smallest difference makes everything. Reminder to all y'all, single day tickets are